Attention, Scout salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. 2.
Hey there. Wow, we had a little blip in the middle there. That's okay. Welcome to the live show. With me tonight, of course, we have Mike. Right, Mike?
Hello, Stan. Yes, I'm here, and I'm unmuted.
Yay.
And I just muted the device that was playing the live show on YouTube, so we don't have that.
Otherwise,
echo.
you got that time delay. That's kind of awesome. Well, we definitely want to know questions, and we've been talking, and there's so much going on in scouting, and Mike and I agree that being an Eagle Scout does not make you totally qualified to be an assistant scoutmaster. So, but it helps. And it is important that the questions come in. And I know there's somebody who actually joined our membership. This is awesome. I am so grateful that we have members of the channel supporting us financially. We need a new camera. So, and it's wonderful that individuals are in there supporting us and making that commitment to just not only be in scouting, but to also help out here just a little bit on our channel. In our community, we've got a lot of people that know a lot of stuff about scouting. And I've been in it for many years. My gray hairs came at the expense of one scout at a time. So been in it for a while. And so I know some of the answers, but if I don't, I can find out somebody who could definitely answer the question. So that in mind, we are here to answer questions about anything to do with the scouting and scouting programs issues you might be having in your community, in your area. You might have a problem with anything, whether it be scout related, adults related, even parents. Sometimes parents can be a handful to deal with, and that's something that does come up. And of course your charter, sometimes a charter is having a problem, so that is something that scouts can help with. We've had some really good videos come up. We did a video on patch collecting with the Order of the Arrow. And with the Order of the Arrow, you do not have to be a member of the Order of the Arrow to trade those patches. You do have to be a member if you want to wear them. And you have to be a member of the lodge. There's certain restrictions as far as wearing them. But as far as trading patches, collecting patches, you do not have to be an active member. That's just to clarify some of the questions that we had on that particular episode. We did another one on I'm trying to think of the latest one, Mike. That was the episode. I'm trying to remember. They all blend together because we record them ahead of time. Depending on editing,
I think
the next one was on
the most recent one is knowing when to step back in scouting.
Yes, that was actually a question that somebody had. When do we step back as leaders? When do we step back? That was a big one. I thought that was a good one. It was kind of lengthy because there was a lot of information to go through, but there's certain signs of when a scout should be involved and when they shouldn't, when the scout leadership should step back, not step away, step back from them. They should still be there for support and for coaching, for mentoring and all that stuff, but to let them lead their meeting. It is a youth meeting led by youth. And that's true for all troops. They need to be youth led. The ones that are led by the adult leaders don't last long. It becomes a lecture, and nobody joined scouting for a bunch of boring meetings. Okay. They didn't join. They went for the adventure. They want to go to summer camp and do archery and do shooting and do all kinds of fun stuff. So these are the things that scouts want to do. So we want to make sure that their youth meeting reflects that, getting ready for that. that's the kind of thing. That's when you need to step back from the youth as an adult and let them run their meeting. Sometimes things can go bad. you, you can critique and definitely give them feedback on how they can improve. And that's the wonderful thing about coaching young people and helping them lead their meeting. That's the cool thing about it. Of course, we do recommend having the youth ask the scoutmaster to come up and do a scoutmaster's minute at the end of the meeting, so they're not like they're excused, off into another room and not to listen in or help out. That's something that we want the youth to still have that connection, still be there, and we want to support that. So that's the cool thing about that video. So if you have a chance, definitely check that video out. Now, I saw some questions come up, and we have.
Well, first we have a new member. Ryder Setter has become a new member of the channel.
That's awesome. That is fantastic. Thank you so much. We have another member. That's Ryder. Okay, Ryder was the one who joined just before we started. So that's awesome. Welcome aboard. I'm so glad. That is very cool.
We also have someone with a shout out to a new Eagle Scout. I don't know. Can I put up names of youth on the channel?
As long as we don't have a photograph to go with it, we're good.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it's when you totally identify them. That's the YPT, the Youth Protection Training. Kicks
All
in.
right. Brandon wants to give a shout out to Callie, who completed her Eagle Scout project today. Congratulations on that.
Well, that's
the
fantastic.
First girl in Troop 30G from Lockhart, Alabama to get this far. Congratulations. That's quite a milestone.
Fantastic. That is fantastic. One of the nice things in my district is that I get to do the Eagle Boards of Review for the district. And our district is huge. We actually have two people that do it. Me and another person divided the entire district because our district is enormous. So she's got those down in the south, and I got the northern group. So our district is actually split up. But as far as Eagle Boards of Review, I had twins. I had twin girls go through the Eagle Board of Review, and these young ladies, man, are they sharp. They know their stuff. It is amazing. Amazing. They did very, very well. And we had two actually go through, I believe just at the end of the month. So recently, so within the past week, it is amazing to me that the board of review is the same. Doesn't matter if it's boy or girl. Doesn't matter. It's the same exact board of review. And the girls do very well. So, all right, you guys, step up your game a little. So, little challenge there.
Well, so a note I'll make just for our international viewers in the United States, we just had daylight savings time end today, which means twice a year in the U.S. we adjust our clocks by an hour.
Mm-hmm.
So the clocks
back to regular time. Yeah,
the clocks show a different time than they would have yesterday. So as a practical matter, the show is kind of an hour later than it would have been had the clocks not been adjusted. So I wonder if that might change how many viewers we have and how many questions we get. But
true. And it happens every year. It's always in November. And this is something that we've been dealing with since way back. I mean, beginning of 19th century, as long as scouting, practically dealing with daylight savings time. And it was really to help the farmers. They gave them an extra hour of daylight. So that was why they moved it back and forth like that during the summer. And now we're back on standard time. There's a big push in the United States to basically go back to just leaving it standard time because of this very instance. And it's that hour change. And it's always on Sunday. It's not an early Sunday morning. Usually it's about 3 a.m. They change the time. And that's a pretty standard thing. And I've noticed that we don't have as many online. So, but that might be
All
why.
right.
That might
Well,
be why.
everyone, if you can find a little place to put in a question and let us know where you're joining us from. Looks like we have a number of viewers right now for the live show, probably fewer than we would have if it wasn't daylight savings time adjustment tonight. But and also, if you can hit the thumbs up, please, on your screen, that will tell YouTube that this is an interesting broadcast and kind of recommend it to some more people. So maybe we have a few more people join.
Well, it definitely gets the attention, of the algorithm and everything on YouTube. That's for sure.
Well, so I'm joining from Minnesota, and Stan is in Florida. So where else is
good old
everyone
sunny
else from?
Florida?
So we have a question here.
Okay.
Pin King 554, common viewer of the show.
Yes.
The weather is starting to get cold here. Time to break out the cold weather camping gear. Can you remind us what state you're in, Pin King?
Well, Mike's way up there in cold land. That's where they make cold. So, isn't it?
Pretty much. Pretty much. I'm
out here in sunny Florida. I think our high today was 79. So,
yeah, I'm still thinking about we might. I might bring my kids to do winter camp after Christmas somewhere in Florida. That sounds pretty appealing.
Hey, Camp Lenoche, which is the Central Florida camp, they have a great winter camp. So look into it. So, and then you can come early and do all the parks, and then you can go out to the Space Coast and watch Elon Musk shoot a few SpaceX rockets up. That's always fun. So, and I saw one of my first time I saw one come back, the first stage, and actually land. And it has a double sonic boom when it lands. It's amazing. So, but it's a fun place here in Central Florida.
All right. We have Paul is joining us from Central Florida Council.
Awesome. Okay. Well, he would agree. Lenoche's got a great winter camp program.
All right. And Pin King is joining from Colorado. So definitely gets cold there, I'm sure, as much as it does in Minnesota.
Yes. I was always impressed when I went to Denver, coming out of that Denver airport, which is the world famous, that big white top to it. And coming back, going towards Denver, they have these huge ditches on the sides of the road where they push all the snow. So it snows a lot in Colorado. That's for sure. So,
all right. We have another question here. And I'm not sure how to pronounce that name, but what are some ways to get the troop bugler engaged with meetings and campouts? This comes from Tim from Troop 56 in Tennessee.
Awesome. The troop bugler is rare, okay? And I don't know why. There should be a troop bugler in every single troop. Bugling is the rarest of all the merit badges. I think nationally, they only awarded 40 in the whole country last year. So, yeah, bugling is something that is very important. It's have the bugler. They don't have to have a trumpet. Okay. A lot of people think they have to be an expert at reveille and taps at the end of the night and things like that. They don't. They could use a kudu horn. You might see it on the wall at the tip of it, right up in there. Okay. That is actually a kudu horn. And they could blow the kudu horn at the beginning of meetings. They could blow the kudu horn to wake everybody up in the morning. I'm in Florida, and we had a bugler who actually used a conch shell, which is a big shell that you could put your hand inside of, and blew that in the morning. And so that is how you can get a little more participation. Trumpeting is a wonderful, wonderful skill, and it is something that is kind of fading. So to bring that back, maybe you could introduce some of these alternative bugling that can be done. So that would be my suggestion, just to get them interested. Believe me, even taps done poorly in the morning will wake you up. So especially outside of your tent. So it is something that Reveille could be really, you know,
In,
jarring.
in our troop, we tend to help scouts that have trouble waking up by standing outside their tent and singing badly.
Oh, see, it works.
It works.
Oh, we used to call that the key of L for lousy, loud and lousy. So,
all right. We have another question from Hillary, another frequent viewer.
Yeah.
Hello from Marietta, Georgia, the
Awesome.
Foothills District of Atlanta Area Council.
Very
Welcome.
cool. Yeah, Atlanta's got a huge scouting population, which is wonderful. Central Florida has one. North Florida, that area, Georgia, all of it through there. The South, we have scoutings the same. Now, what's different about Southern scouting is that we work on a little bit different schedule as far as OA call out. That's the Order of the Arrows call out for joining the Order of the Arrow. It's a little bit different. It's not done at summer camp. It's actually done at winter camporees and stuff. So that's something that happens. We do later in the year type of camping. So they might have a winter camp instead of 6 weeks of summer camp. They'll take one of those weeks and move it to the winter camp. So that's something that we do in the South. And but even Georgia gets a little cool. So,
yeah.
We're really in the tropics in Central Florida. From here down, we're probably the furthest south you can get. I don't know how the conversation came up today, but my wife and I were talking. And says, you got to go several hours north to get to the deep south from where we are. So we are down here. So.
Well, Light Guy 911 comments that everyone should go to Camp Lenoche for winter camp for sure. And
it's a great experience.
I have to say that, to do my duty as a Minnesotan, that, winter camp here, if a scout is wanting to do snow sports, there's probably, there's several snow sports related merit badges. There's probably no opportunity to do that in Florida ever.
That's very true. That's very true. I had a scout that wanted to get every single merit badge and then quickly realized that snow sports was one of those merit badges. So there was some need to travel just to get that one merit badge. He had to go all the way up, I think, North Carolina. They were able to get some snow and learn to ski. So it was challenging, and he did it. He was able to get every merit badge. 139, I think, at the time. So yeah.
We do have some councils that have council-sponsored winter camps here that give scouts an opportunity to sleep in the tent in the when it's below freezing or perhaps even below zero. And that's an experience if you're interested in it. Not personally my cup of tea, but it can be done.
Yes, and it's I can remember growing up with Klondike derbies. They would do in the winter. It was a camp out. And it was always with a sled. We would build a sled as a patrol. And of course, all the patrol members were the dogs. So one rode and the rest of them pulled. And I can remember many of those and sleeping in igloos. I've actually done that. I think I was in Wisconsin at the time. But that's it is an experience. And I believe the canoe base up there in, I think it's upstate Michigan, has Kodiak. I think I've heard about this from a troop that wants to go. And they do dog sledding, actual dog sledding across some of the big lakes that are up there. And those who can't go with the dog, because it's usually two people actually driving the sled. There's like a thing on the back where they can actually drive the sled. And the rest of them have to be on snowmobiles. So that would be awesome. I would think that would be a great adventure. So there's so many adventures out there, but as cold weather comes in, you got to make sure that your scouts, they got their zero bags and Make sure that they stay warm. There are what's these oxygen things? You kind of shake them up once you get them out of the package, and as soon as the oxygen gets in there, they start heating up, and they keep your pocket warm, keep your fingers warm. That's important. And you can put them usually at the bottom of your sleeping bag with your feet, so your feet and your toes don't get cold. It's a way of, enjoying that weather. And being in the South, the deep South, I don't get that very often. It does get cold here, and this is one of the big things that a lot of people from up north that come to southern or to the South, and they think, oh, it's always going to be the same temperature every night. No, there's weeks during the winter. Usually, it's near the end of December, beginning of January, where it's cool out. Sometimes the frost can actually create what we call Florida snow, which is just frost all over the windows and area around your tent and stuff like that. So it's definitely possible to get a nice, good, cold weather in Florida during that time. And what's really weird about that is that we have humidity year round. It's always the humidity. So if it's cold, it feels colder. It's humiture is what they do. So this is something that does happen in the South when it gets really cold. We used to have orange trees.
All right. Well, we have another comment. Hi, Stan. I finished from Jonathan. Hi, Stan. I finished my Wood Badge weekends at Glacier's Ed Council in Wisconsin.
Awesome.
Any thoughts or recommendations on how to start the process of working on my ticket if I can?
Yeah. Park your ticket if you can. That's the line in the song. So I'm not going to start singing it, but I'll tell you what, working your ticket, and typically the ticket is broken up into several parts. There's usually 5 or 6 parts, and they have different themes for those parts. One might be religious based or faith based. So depending on what you've set up, and that's really when you go through the training, the last day or so, you're working on finalizing what your ticket is going to be. Your ticket is the whole thing. Okay. So work your ticket, and those things you take one at a time, one aspect at a time. I recommend taking on the hardest one first. That way, the rest of it is already in motion. And take on the hardest one that you've chosen to do, and just kind of work that through. Take it step by step. Always remember your resources. The people that worked with you to develop that ticket are still available. You can still call them up and say, hey, I need help with this. That's there. Those resources are still there. So you're not floating on your own. Okay. So don't panic. They'll get you through it. It's a matter of just working it as you go. And before you know it, your ticket will be completed. And then we start what we call it, scout beating. No, beating. Sorry. Scout beating with beads, little wooden things. So, so that's always a good thing. You got to have that. I see a lot of comments coming through.
So, Stan, if I complete Wood Badge, could I use helping you with this show as one of my tickets? I'm not sure how that works.
Sure.
All right. Maybe
I'll sign off on that. No problem.
All right. Well, Hillary had a comment. A troop bought a bugle for the bugler to use. The bugler gets his own mouthpiece. That's good for sanitation. Yeah. And a local scouter leads a monthly training on bugling. Awesome. I believe from the bugling merit badge, which, as you said, is the least common merit badge, you can use a bugle or a trumpet or a cornet.
Okay.
Different brass instruments.
Yeah. Well, any of the woodwinds or the trumpet? Yeah, trumpet is brass. It's a brass instrument. So yeah, those other alternatives. I think if it's in the merit badge book, then that's great. But to motivate someone taking on the role of being the troop bugler. And that's one of those things that that I would recommend, is give them the option of using things like the kudu horn, the conch. I think there was one that used a harmonica. So different instruments can be used. You know, as long as they're portable and you can take them camping, you could try that and leave it as an option. But it's not towards the actual process. The bugler's purpose is a timekeeper. That's the, you know, it's time to get up. It's time for taps. It's time's lights out, you know, go to bed. They are the timekeeper of your troop. They're the ones that say, hey, it's time for morning meal. It's time for afternoon dinner and so on. They're the ones that kind of keep everything rolling along. They might be used to call your all your youth together to gather, you know, for whether it be flags or announcements of some kind. So that's the thing. Buglers are underutilized and they need to be encouraged. And by giving them those alternatives in that position, that's great. But when it comes to the merit badge, they have to follow what is written. That's the big part. As far as the requirements for that merit badge. But for the position of bugler for the troop, make it interesting, make it fun. That's why youth got into this, is they wanted to do something that's fun.
You know, for the position of bugler, perhaps just make a joyful noise, even if it's not with a bugle.
Yeah. Oh, we had a special here, didn't we? Or what?
We have a donation.
Thank you.
How would my role in the Order of the Arrow change once I turn 18? Questions from maybe AJ.
Well, once you turn 18. Now, if you look at some of the videos, there was a controversial video. People were, you know, taking sides and getting all upset about it. But, you know, with a troop, when you turn 18, you're considered an adult. But in the Order of the Arrow, because we have crews and we have ships even that are involved, the youth don't turn to adult until they're 21. So technically, your role in the Order of the Arrow remains the same. You're still a youth until you get to 21. At that point, you become an advisor. That's how that works. If you're still involved with the Order of the Arrow, and you turn 21, you instantly go from youth member to advisor, which is an adult member. So it won't change anything as far as you can still vote, you can still run for office, you can still do things within the Order of the Arrow as a youth until you're 21. So there's a big controversy there too. You have to be listed somewhere as a youth, whether it be in a crew or a ship. That's something, you know, check in your area, I would say. It's controversy as far as the requirements, the age requirements. There's a 3-year grace period there. And that's always been a lot of people's, they kind of go off on that. It's just 3 years. It's a very short period of time. So, but as far as it stands right now, it shouldn't affect anything. It should be just fine.
All right. Hillary commented that for winter camping, he recommends hand warmers, these little packets that you can, they kind of have a heat generating reaction and generate heat in your gloves. So that's a good recommendation. Thank you, Hillary.
Yes, definitely. I think it's to do with oxygen or air getting into them. So even if it's cold air, it'll still get hot. And you do have to be a little careful. You don't want to put them in your shoes. I had scouts get, you know, they'd be walking along, all of a sudden they start yelling because they can't untie their shoe fast enough because they put them in their shoe. So you got to put them in a place where you can get to them, move them around. So I didn't want to burn your toes with that. That's for sure. Awesome.
All right, we have another question here.
Yeah.
Hello, Stan. I am from Ohio. I am a new Lion Cub assistant and leader.
Awesome.
Congratulations. Welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
I finished the Baloo training. I want to sign up for Wood Badge. but some other leaders would say that I should complete Green Bar.
Green Bar, that is actually an old youth program, I believe. Green Bar was I'm going back to my 1960s memories. I believe Green Bar, the Green Bars were the patrol leaders and senior patrol leader and assistant senior patrol leaders. They would go to a course that was a week long. It was basically the forerunner of what we call National Youth Leadership Training, NYLT. So that was actually the old Green Bar program. I don't believe that applies to Cub Scouts. Okay, that's really for troops and youth. So it's a little bit different as far as that particular program. So I think what they might have been talking about is Baloo training. And there's an older program called Owls, I think, which is like an introduction to outdoor skills. So, but Baloo, I think, is the current stuff. And once you have that Baloo training, that's great. Do all of your online training and then talk to somebody about Wood Badge. Now, this could be through your council service center. You can contact them, go to Roundtable on a regular basis. I recommend that to everybody. Go to Roundtable and there will be somebody there for the current course, and they can get you signed up either for that course or for one that's coming up. So that's how that process works. Make sure you've done all the training for your position. You got to have that done. Okay. Then the Wood Badge training kicks in and helps you move along, and will give you a great deal of exposure to the rest of the scouting program, whether it be troop related, crew related, ship related. You know, that's the other scouting part of it. That I would recommend. So definitely do your training.
Yeah, and Stan, I just did a quick Google search and I found that some councils do currently have something that they refer to as Green Bar training. It seems to be some kind of adult training thing, so I'm not sure.
Maybe they moved it from that
exactly what that is. Yeah,
maybe they upgraded it. Instead of patrol leaders, it became actual assistant scoutmasters or den leaders. I don't know.
Yep.
Worth looking into.
All right.
Each district and council is different.
Each one is different.
Yeah.
Quinjet77 just became an Eagle Scout 2 weeks ago. Congratulations to you.
Very good. In fact, we have an Eagle salute. Something the twins did. So for their Eagle.
Well, and geez, I'm kind of running out of questions right now, but something that I would like to bring up, the channel had a milestone recently. 6,000 members. That's amazing.
It is a blessing. When I look at that, I go, wow. I can recall the struggle all the way to 1,000. I really look back at those days. Those videos are still around, by the way. Yeah. But I hit that 1,000. I was amazed. I thought it would be neat to figure out what that looks like, what 1,000 people look like. I was stunned. It just this big picture of dots, and each dot is a face of somebody. It's amazing. Absolutely. I couldn't believe it. Now we're at 6,000. That is mind blowing. I am so blessed with so many great scouters out there joining up, and I've actually had people tell me they didn't want to subscribe because they couldn't afford it. I says, it doesn't cost anything to subscribe. It's free. That's free. It's when you join and actually join into the community. That's when you're donating a little money to the cause. So that's the thing. It doesn't cost anything to be a subscriber, but you would be amazed. 80% of the people viewing the videos here are not even subscribers. So it is amazing. Amazing. We do get lots of views, and I am so continuously grateful for everybody that has subscribed. to this channel. It means a lot. We're on the right path. That's what it means. We're heading in the right direction. And it is so important that we all just kind of help one another, very scouting like, to help others at all times. That's, our middle, that's the middle one, right? That's our middle promise. And you are definitely doing that. And I plan to keep doing that and keep working it.
And someone just mentioned, I think I said 6,000 members. I meant 6,000 subscribers. It's
right.
It's
right.
maybe a couple dozen members. I don't know the exact number, but
I
so
think
as you said, it's free.
We only have about 30. We have about
Okay.
30. Now we have a lot of gift memberships, and gift memberships often happen in the live show. Someone will buy extra memberships for people on waiting lists to try it out, to see what the extended videos are about, and just find out what the other stuff is that's out there. There's chats, there's emojis that members can use to activate emojis. And I accidentally sent out, we had put a new emoji in for the members, and it was actually the scout hat. So if you're a member, the way you do that is you type colon, the key, I think it's shift and the key for colon, put that in there, and then type in Scouter. If you do that, a whole bunch of icons will pop up. If you're a member of the channel, you get these icons. So that's something that you can do right on the screen right now. That's something members have available. I did notice, by the way, that the Scout sign was incorporated into the standard set for Google. So we might be taking the Scout sign out of ours, leaving us an extra spot that we could put a new emoji in. So because they already have it, and it comes up when you type Scouter, it'll start coming in on that list. So try it out. We have so many different emojis that you can use. And that's one of those benefits being a member when you join the actual community that's here. And you get those community announcements. And we had a poll, and that's where we decided what we would put in next as far as emojis. So it was kind of neat.
All right,
now,
Ken, another longtime member.
Very long time member
And viewer of the show every month. So Stan, you keep it personal. That's what he likes. And he shows your show at commissioner meetings.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Thank you. Well, he has been a member for probably the longest period of time. He's probably one of the first. And he's amazing. So keep up that good work. And there's so many scouters out there that don't know about us. So let's spread the word. Let's send it out. This stuff, it's free, right? If you want to see all the videos, go right ahead. It's all there. There's a catalog. They keep saying that I have 900 videos, but they're small. They're tiny little pieces. The actual videos that we have are they're in a playlist. And I think it's like 240 that are actual subject shows that actually have been dedicated individually. But there's a lot of other stuff like shorts. They count as far as that. All the little one-off things that I've done for events and things, just that I put out there. That's also included in there, and all of my experimental stuff that might not even be available. We at one time, this is a little story about our channel. At one time, we were getting ready to launch a whole series on knot tying, and it became a huge problem because of what we named it. And what we named it was Naughty Thoughts with ScouterStan, and it was. We knew it'd be controversial, but not that bad. And we had a problem with, at the time, there was a lot going on with youth watching videos online, and there was the youth protection for YouTube started kicking in. So we had to abandon the whole project. I think we had put together about 25 shows, and we had filmed 7 of them. So somewhere in the archives, I don't know, they're in there, but they're down there. We were gearing up to get started. Now, some of the videos in fact, this channel started from a knot tying video. It was one of the very first knot tying videos. And come think of it, that was actually one of my ticket items on my wood badge, was this video. It was one of the very first knot tying videos on YouTube. So it's still on this channel. And it's only 3 minutes long. And it's the 7 knots every scout should know. So it's right out of the handbook. The knots are tied from the tying point of view, from the person that's tying. They actually are visually seeing the knot as they're tying it. So my son actually was filming. This was back during videotape. Okay, long time ago. He was filming me over my shoulder, and I would tie the knots. And we just put some industrial free license music with it and put it up. It was the very first knot tying video out there on YouTube. It's had several homes, and it kind of has been resting here ever since. So give you a little background on some of the videos, some of the stuff we've done in the past.
All right. From Hillary, congrats on 6,000 subscribers, and bring a friend, everyone, so we can make it 7,000. Sounds like a good plan to me.
That would be awesome. That would be wonderful. I look forward to helping, and definitely hand these videos out. It's not a secret. Okay. You can just type in ScouterStan anywhere on YouTube and it comes up. Anywhere on Google, anything on Google. I was always surprised that when I'm researching things, that my stuff comes up, and I'm like, really? So I was stunned. I was stunned by that. And but yeah, pretty cool. Pretty cool.
All right. Nimrod Diaries says, congrats, Stan. I've learned a lot and working some ideas at our PAC meeting.
Awesome. PAC meetings are fun. When I got kind of rooked into that, the story. When I got into that, I thought I was going to be in a lot of trouble, but it is probably one of the best things that I ever did was be this cub master. And it was a small cub group. It was probably about 20, 30 scouts and, Cub Scouts. And we were able to get that up to about 80 by the time I was in a short 2 years. It was fun. I just dug in and had a ball with it. I did all the decorations and stuff, and I delegated people to do snacks, and it became a community thing. And we'd sing songs, and they were terrible. And we did skits that were really bad, and we had fun. And that was the best time. I really enjoyed that. And to this day, in my community, I'll be in the grocery store, and they'll say, ScouterStan, and they come around and go, you were my cub master. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. You get caught up and you find out that they're now in the fire department, doing things. And he says, yeah, it was a great time. So scouting is a legacy. We're leaving in our wake the future leaders of our country. Literally, we're leaving these youth that we're affecting in a very favorable way. We're helping them find skills, find inspiration, find that spark, and all of a sudden they're the managers. They're the police officers. They're the people going to medical school. They're the ones joining the Army, the Navy, the Marines. These are the future leaders of our country. And that's all in our wake of having fun through scouting and helping that influence. That's one thing that I kind of want to do here on the channel. I want to make sure that that's kept going. And it's important that we do this. America needs good leaders. They need leaders that can make moral decisions. And the Scout Oath and Scout Law does that. that's the beautiful thing. As you know, if you can get that in a scout, in a youth, you've succeeded. That's the key. That is the key.
All right. We have a question from Ken. Do you have a video on tying the wood badge woggle?
The wood badge woggle, the Turk's head. That's the knot. I had up here a whole bunch like knot boards that I created for University of Scouting, and one of those was the woggle, the actual this thing. This is a twin woggle. It's got two lines that are continuously wrapped. But I find that I can actually do those almost in my sleep, backwards. I don't know why, but I can do them backwards on my hand and actually put them together. So I could probably put something like that together. I think there's some decorative knots, and that's one of them that would do well. Like the monkey fist one that you see a lot. People will put that around marbles and little plastic balls and stuff. You know, you can actually make them nice and round that way. Otherwise, they come out kind of square, you know, because of the rope actually pulls in that way. But there's a lot of decorative knots out there, and I got into it as a habit that I called a hobby. Knot tying has always been one of those things that I just play with, and I've actually been in line at the movies, and out of habit I carry a piece of rope in my pocket, and I'll just sit there and I'll just practice knots. Eventually I'm practicing this knot, and I look up and everybody's looking at me. They think I'm inline entertainment. So, I'm going through all these knots. You know, it's just something that I enjoy doing, and the Turk's head is one of those knots that folds into itself, and there's different ones that have dual or two strands, and then there's ones that have three strands, and there's different meanings for both. There's different passes. The Turk's head start off, I believe it's four passes within the knot, and you can do up to 8, 16, and so on. There's different ones, and then you can flatten it. The Turk's head actually inverts, and you can flatten it out. And some people use that to make rugs. They'll actually get knotted rags, and they'll actually make that into like a big thick rope, and they'll actually create a Turk's head, about a 16 curled Turk's head on the floor, and then they'll flatten it all out and then sew the sides together of each one of the ropes, and that makes a rug. You can actually make a big round rug from using that knot. So it's amazing. There's a lot of that stuff out there. There's different ones for your lanyards. The lanyards that you have typically are just overhand knots. That's this one, and that's the lanyard for your wood badge. Now, these are actually Turk's head beads. They're solid. They were made by a friend of mine for NYLT, National Youth Leadership Training. So if you're in that, there's different colors for different positions. So, and I put it right on the lanyard for wood badge. That's a cool thing. And if you're an adult leader in a position in National Youth Leadership Training, that qualifies you for the third staff bead, which is a wooden bead. So now I earned mine wooden bead with regular wood badge, being on the staff there, and the other ones they recognize in our community with little small beads that look like woggles that actually go on the lanyard. So,
all right, we have a comment from Nimrod Diaries, and I think he said he's signing off for the evening. It's getting late, but he said you described our pack with 3 goals: make it fun, always grow, be public facing in our community.
Yes.
So.
Super important. Those are the 3 keys. If you can make it fun, you'll keep your scouts. You'll grow. You will grow naturally. make it, that's the thing about Cub Scouts. It's highly, highly organized chaos. That's what Cub Scouting really is. And they really love it. So don't worry, you're going to mess up the song. They love it when you mess up the song. They love it. Okay. They love things like a scream box, which is it's a box with the word scream written on a piece of paper inside of it, like the clear Tupperware boxes. And when you open the lid, everybody screams. And then when you close it, they're all quiet. So there's fun things you can do like that. And yeah, it's corny. Okay. But they love it. And when they have fun, everybody has fun. I've had moms and dads call me up and say, I love scouting. You make it fun. And I said, no, your kids make it fun. They're the ones having a good time. They're the ones telling those corny jokes. Okay. And really having the time of their lives, shooting off rockets. We had rocket day, and we did all kinds of fun stuff. So there's a lot of things you can do in Cub Scouting, but you got to keep it fun. And they didn't join for a stinky meeting. They joined to have fun. They want to go out and have adventure. They want to go to
do something, the
scout camp, and shoot BB guns. They want to do archery. They want to do these things that are exciting and adventurous and fun. So that's the key. That's the first one. And then, of course, with the parents, you got to have them on board too. So as long as you can keep them on board, you're good. You're good. Now, there's some parents that will not be happy no matter what you do. So it's part of scouting. So we'll just be friendly anyways, right? That's just part of the scout law. And we will move on and do the right thing and have fun. So those are key. And if you're doing that in front of the community, they'll all want to join in. That's the cool thing. We were able to talk the school into doing a video of our Cub Scouts actually raising the flag in the morning. So when they did their pledge in the morning, they saw the video in all the classrooms of the Cub Scouts, and we made sure that they knew that those Cub Scouts were at that school. So, and they all wanted to get into it. So the community is very important. Another thing I demanded it. I wanted to make sure that the Cub Scouts came to the PTA meeting and did the flags at the beginning. I thought that was the best thing they could possibly do. Of course, once they did the flags, that was it. They were out the door. It was a school night, so they usually had to go home. But yeah, I wanted the Cub Scouts to be involved. I wanted them to really be out seen by the community. And if there was a parade, we didn't have any while I was Cub Master, but I was definitely going to make sure I was in it. Get those Cub Scouts out there. They'd love being in there. They'd love to be the center of attention. That's fantastic.
All right. Well, Light Guy 911 comments he has a habit of tying knots while on Zoom meetings for work. Okay.
You don't want to be tying a bad knot. That might be the problem. Yeah. So make sure they're good knots.
And Pink King says that beads are not a thing in their council, and they use elk teeth for how many times you've completed NYLT. The first one is as a participant or youth. The others are for staff.
Very cool. So elk teeth, that is awesome. Now the staff of NYLT, I do not believe they wear woodbed beads. You have to go to Woodbadge to get woodbed beads. They have these little tiny square knots that they could put on a lanyard. That's totally fine. But they're these little tiny things. Let me see if I can get it close to the camera. But it's these little tiny beads, and they go around the string, so you can be fancy.
and King commented that the elk teeth are now fake ones, probably plastic or something, but okay.
Sometimes they can find them. The elk teeth do fall out. They get caught on things, and they do have. I think they do have baby teeth, actually. So they might be small ones. Who knows? But yeah, That's a thing. I think I've seen elk teeth for sale that was plastic. I've seen them.
Yep.
So they do have plastic ones. So.
All right. Alex said it's the first time he's hearing about the Scream Box, and it's a great activity.
You could do it with a hat. We did it with a ball hat at day camp. So it doesn't have to be a box. The thing with the hat, you take the hat, and as long as it's in somebody's hands, no noise. But as soon as you throw it, everybody can scream while it's in the air. And then when it lands, they have to be quiet. So that one's fun too. So we did that at day camp. And I did day camp several times. And that was fun. That was a fun one. And it gets all that energy going. Because if there's ever a time when you need energy, you get near these Cub Scouts. Oh my gosh, they got energy like, oh, they could run the planet on their activities. They just run, and screaming and yelling is one of those things that they naturally have to do. That it's part of growing up. It's part of being a child. They need that activity, and that is one of those things that they do at day camp and in these meetings. I like the Scream Box too. And sometimes the lid would get lost. Somebody would knock it out of my hand and be under a chair, and the whole time, everybody, all the Cub Scouts are just screaming. Then I'd find the lid, and then I'd put it on top, and they go silent. There was always that one that kept going. So, I'll look over at them. So.
Okay, Stan, Myron Kidd asks for what was your favorite camp out you've done as a youth or an adult? I probably have some thoughts on that too, but what are your thoughts?
Well, the funny thing is that when this question comes up at like Eagle boards and boards of review in general, it's always the one that was the worst. The ones where nothing went right, everything happened. Those turn into being some of your best campouts for a lot of youth. And I think I had one where I was on a canoe trip with my son's troop, and I'm okay at doing a canoe, and but I had a scout that nobody wanted in their canoe because the minute his oar hit the water, we went sideways. I mean, I don't know how he did it or why, or anyways. So I just said, just stay in the front. I'll do all the paddling. We'll make it down the river. We started off early that morning, and everything was going wrong, and it was a nightmare. So it was a real challenge to get out on the water. And when we did, there was a mist. It was just eye level in the mist. And we started on the river, and honestly, if you didn't paddle at all, the river was going about 2 knots. So you could just float along and steer. So you really didn't have to do a whole lot. And I remember we were we just had left shore, and we were starting down the river. I was in the back of the group trying to keep all the stragglers together. And all the kids in the front were going, "Woo, look at that. That's wow, woo." And I look up through this mist, and this big white owl was just flapping along in the mist. And as it came at us, the mist would swirl around behind it, and it just floated over us. Didn't make any sound at all. It was absolutely magical. That was amazing moment. But nothing went right on that trip. That was the only thing. And I remember that the most. That was one of those things that stood out. I know that my father, he had long passed before that, but owls were a big deal with him. And he was always in the owl patrol, and the owls were huge. And I just always had that feeling, it almost was ghostly because it was coming out of the mist and just flew right over us. It was stunning experience. And you'll find that's true with a lot of things in scouting. I remember looking up at the stars at Philmont and it was so clear. The night, it was cold. And looking up at those stars, it was 3-dimensional. It was almost like you could reach out and touch them, like the Milky Way. I'd never seen the Milky Way before. I was always in cities where there's so much light pollution. You can't see the Milky Way. You have no idea there's so many stars until you go out there. And you're 100 miles from any light source. So you could see, it's phenomenal. So there are experiences out there, even for the adults and for the youth. We need to point that out. It's a big adventure. It is a huge adventure, and we want them to be a part of that. And,
Stan, I think I've told you in the past, my goals for any scouting event is that everyone's having fun, everyone's safe, and everyone learns something.
Yeah. And sometimes you have to point it out. You have to say, have you ever seen Saturn? You can almost see the rings. It's that's beautiful. That's a beautiful thing. But you got to do that, and it's got to be safe, and it's got to be all the other things, but you got to have those adventures, those moments that really mean a lot. And that's the cool thing. We've all got them. They're there. Just got to look for them.
Well, I have something to comment on.
Sure.
Yesterday, we brought our kids to within driving range. Another council's having a merit badge university, and
awesome.
And a couple-hour drive, but it was good. And my kids did the chemistry merit badge, and the morning session was at a community college, and the afternoon session we finished up the chemistry merit badge at a paper mill. So
wow.
It was fascinating to see this paper mill. And, while we were at the paper mill, the web broke, and they were, for several minutes, while the employees scurried around to fix it, they were depositing broken paper, crumpled paper on the floor at a rate of about 1 acre per minute.
Golly. Yeah, mills are amazing how they can pull all that together. And if there's a problem, it's hard to stop, once it gets rolling forward. And paper mills do a lot of chemical treatment, and it depends on what they're producing, whether it's cardstock or, there's even paper that nobody ever sees. They use it for packing and materials and things like that. So it depends on what kind of paper they're making. If they're making like desk paper, stuff they're going to print on, that's a different process. But it is fascinating. Factories are enormously fascinating. And I think it's important that scouts see that other side of manufacturing. I think that is a huge thing. Manufacturing jobs are coming back. Let's put it that way. I think they're coming back. I'm hoping that America keeps producing and keeps doing these things, even though, a lot of countries can produce it cheaper. I think it's important that we have the skills and have those skills out there for scouts. I'm always reminded of the guy that did Dirty Jobs, Eagle Scout, and he was always focused on manufacturing jobs and manufacturing things, and that's the key. We have to keep that. Otherwise, we're going to be hiring everybody to do everything. So that's not good. That's expensive too. So it's important that we keep those skills, and having a paper mill, that's a wonderful thing, so that they can actually, recycle paper. There's paper, you wouldn't think about it, but paper is everywhere. Just look in your wallet. You'll find dollar bills in there. And if you look closely enough, there's Levi jeans, little strips of cloth in that paper. If you look at it, you look at that paper, it's amazing. And there's watermarks on that paper, and there's all kinds of neat things, and chemically making that paper very unique. So
something that I like in scouting, there's, of the 138 merit badges, there's traditional scout skills and outdoors things. There's also a lot of career exploration related merit badges.
Yes.
From medical professions merit badge to welding merit badge.
Yeah. Car repair, the plumbing, that's another merit badge.
Yeah, yeah.
There's a lot of career-based ones, and some of them are unique. Like I believe it's the rail. I'm thinking of the railroad.
There's a railroad merit badge and
Yeah.
aviation merit badge. Yeah.
Yeah. So transportation, all the different things that come up as a career. So these are things that scouts are. This is their first exposure to something like that. So that might just spark them off and say, hey, that's the kind of career I want to do. And it's, we've always said that, you go through grade school, middle school, high school, college, that may not work for a lot of people, a lot of scouts. So we need to start thinking they go through the regular school system, but college is not always the next step. Maybe trade school. Okay. Find a trade. There's a lot of plumbers out there that make more than doctors. So that's real. Okay. I know of several that run plumbing companies that make way more than most doctors. And so,
at a recent troop meeting, I was taking a survey of merit badge interest, and I asked, hey, how many scouts would be interested in taking the home repair merit badge? And about half the scouts raised their hands, but all of the parents sitting in the back said, Johnny, raise your hand. You're interested in home repairs.
You get to fix all those door handles that went through the wall. That's a great repair, right? So
we prepare you through life. Another comment from Ken, the white owl flying over you in the mist can be quite a unforgettable moment. It was.
I think about it all the time. My father's vigil name is Il, which is that was it. He was an owl. He loved owl. Everybody in my wood badge group that I was staffing for was the owls, and they adopted me. So I'm an honorary owl. So that was nice, and really brings it all home. So we've talked about critters in the past. I think there's a video on it about wood badge and critters. We have critters in wood badge. Just like any patrol has a icon, so does wood badge. So definitely look into it. But yes, you're right, Ken. I often think of that and think how blessed I was to have that moment. So that was neat. So,
well, it's 9:00 in Minnesota. It's 10:00 in Florida, and it would be 10:00 or 11:00 if we'd not had the time change. So,
and it's a school night.
It's a school night.
Oh no, you told me they have a day off.
My kids, in our town, it's a teacher work day tomorrow, but
it's a regular school day here. So
I'm wondering if we should wrap it up sometime soon here.
Yeah, I think so. We're going to call it a little bit early. Normally we go for about an hour and a half. So we're hour 10 hour. Yeah, just about an hour, which is fine, tonight. So if you have any questions, let's get them in. All right. So let's put them on the chat thing there.
Well, Ken said he's in Buffalo, but it's not Buffalo, New York. Is he in, or is he Buffalo, New York?
Buffalo. Well, there's many Buffaloes. I think there's one in Florida.
I was thinking that Ken might be somewhere in the center of the country, but I don't recall.
Well, I think you replied there. What did he say? Chippewa Falls?
Let the chips fall. Buffalo chips falling, I guess. Okay.
It's funny is we had a district commissioner, and he said his name was Chip, and we found out he was a Buffalo. So he was a Buffalo Chip. So yeah.
Oh, okay. He's Buffalo Patrol. He said, "I'm a Buffalo, not I'm in." Okay, sorry.
Have you ever noticed with the critters that they kind of match a little bit? Maybe I'm a little. They don't have a squirrel patrol, so maybe I'm squirrely. So You never know. But I'm thinking, maybe they have the buffaloes, and then they have the what's the other one that's big? Bears. They have bears. That's another wood badge patrol, and they're amazing. Okay, all patrols are cool, even the Bob Whites.
Okay.
Hey, I started as a Bob White. So.
Ken says, I'm a Cajun from the Evangeline area in Lafayette, Louisiana. Okay. I'd recall it was somewhere kind of central of the country. So maybe central south.
Yeah. How y'all are. Yeah. The wife and I were talking about vacations we want next year. And at the top of the list is New Orleans. So we want to love New Orleans. That is a beautiful town. A lot of antiques. If you do antiquing, which she does. So that is a good one. So that and a cruise.
All right.
That was my vacation. I wanted. She's like, well, we may not be able to afford that. So, we're working on it. So,
all right.
Louisiana. Well, that's awesome. That is awesome. Well, Ken, thank you so much for all that you do. I know you have a mission there, right? I think that's what you said. So I'm on a mission here. So we both have missions, and many blessings. So that's true. One of the blessings I have is Mike. Mike helps me stay on track. If you've seen some of the early videos when I was on my own, I couldn't see the screen. They had fonts that were so tiny I couldn't make them any bigger. It was a nightmare trying to get through. And with Mike, he is my blessing. He's keeping this thing running, and I'm so pleased that he's a part of our team and everything we do. And that is just fantastic. Please keep up the good work there, Mike. Good work. And yes, you will. Yes, you can add this to your ticket. You add this to your ticket. So when you go to Wood Badge, helping out at this, it's not easy. It's a labor of love. And that's, when we think about it, scouting is a labor of love. We really like seeing the success of all these young people who come to us. I mentioned it in the most recent video. I talked about the scout that had gone from couldn't make eye contact, hiding behind his mom, and now I think he's in the fire department or something. I'll have to look into that. But he spent some time in the military after that. So, I mean, he really blossomed. He really came out and did all kinds of great things. And he will be a good leader, a good parent in the future. So it's going to be amazing. So we do these things naturally out of the goodness of our heart. And I'm so grateful for all that you do in scouting and for this channel. That's just awesome. But if you got to choose, scouting's the one to choose. Okay, that's the thing. That's the wonderful thing. And thank you, Mike, for all that you do. And I think we're just going to wrap it at this point. Is that okay?
Yeah, thank you for all that you do. And
awesome. All right. Until next week, I will see you all on the trail.